Welcome to the High Value Sales Show of Eversprint.com. I'm Malcolm Louie, the managing member of Eversprint, and today we're speaking with Brent Bennett, the president and CEO of Spectra Benefits, a provider of insurance, savings, and retirement plans to local businesses. Welcome to the show, Brent.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Brent, you grew your company's revenue from $2.8 million in 2014 to $6 million in 2017, a 118% increase, and in 2018, you hit around $7.2 million. Before we talk about how you grew your company so fast, can you briefly share what your company does beyond my quick intro and how your company differs from the competition?
Yeah. So I've been at this for a while. In fact, I started Spectra in 2002, and we've had pretty good growth through that time, but really is around that 2014, 2015 when we really started to accelerate our growth. And one of the ways we did that is really by defining who our client was. We sell employee benefits, or we're an employee benefit consulting firm and brokerage firm. So we brokerage health benefits, 401ks, health insurance, dental plans, et cetera. And really from 2002 to about 2014, we saw our customers as any business that was out there that had 5 or more employees, and we had clients literally ranging from as low as 3 or 4 employees up to a couple thousand employees. In 2014, we really, and actually it was about 2010 when the economy crashed. 2008, 2009, we saw it kind of bottom out around 2010. We saw a huge deviation from one company to the next, and when I say company to the next, the exact same industry, very similar employee count, employee size, but a big difference in the cultural values and the way that they viewed benefits and really viewed our relationship, whether they viewed us as a consultant that could come in and really help them benchmark their plans, see what other competitors were doing, and use best practices, or if we were just a quoting engine, if we were just looking out there to get quotes and another vendor for them. And so as we looked at our clients that were really spending a lot of time, that were valuing their benefits, they were using benefits as a tool to motivate their culture or to express what their culture is. Those were the companies in 2010 that frankly were doing pretty good. They had higher company retention or employee retention. They had better client retention, better revenue growth, or at least didn't drop quite as much, and really made a conscious choice to really focus on growth-oriented clients and to choose our clients wisely. In 2014, we let 2 of our sales team members go. That wasn't them as individuals, it was the size of their block. They had a lot of Subway franchises, things of that nature that were great businesses, but we couldn't add a lot of value to them as we looked and saw those companies that had maybe white collar, blue collar, gray collar, regardless of the industry, that were really wanting a little bit higher touch employee experience. The interesting thing about our firm or our industry is we don't charge anymore. We get paid by the carriers that we represent. And so we don't charge anymore. Our services are really agnostic from one broker to another. But what the value that we give or bring to our client changes pretty drastically. And so really the biggest change that fueled that growth was the client mix, right? We went from about 450 clients to around 300 clients. We kind of shaved off about 150 or let those clients leave with some of the salespeople. They were some of our smallest, least profitable clients. And it wasn't the client size, it was the mindset and the culture. Whether they offered just health insurance, whether they offered health, dental, vision, 401k. And so as we monetized on those relationships, we really saw, our firm grow. We saw our existing clients, the organic growth of our clients has been tremendous. I mean, last year, if I was to look, our organic growth was significantly more than our new sales growth was, which gets a little scary in terms of trying to predict what that growth is going to be. But it's exciting from the standpoint that if we can pick our clients right, we can really have some good growth as they do the right things.
Right. So how you differ from the competition is really your focus, right? You are focusing on businesses that really see benefits as more than just a line item that they provide their employees, but really they see it as an important facet of their business.
Yeah. Well, and even our relationship changes. And I say relationship meaning, instead of just focusing on employee benefits, oftentimes our education, we do what we call hub universities. We do them on site. We've got a training facility that holds about 40 people here in our office. We have our clients in at least on a quarterly basis. And a lot of times, prior to that, we were having meetings about insurance. We were having meetings about COBRA. We were having meetings about compliance. We still have those type of meetings, but now we're having meetings about how to engage your employees, how to increase productivity, how to communicate with, say, millennials or different generations, things that have to do with benefits indirectly, but are not typically what you'd hear from another insurance agent. And that's where we've seen, that tremendous growth, and frankly, better relationships with our clients. Our clients are now our promoters, not necessarily. Our salespeople are still doing a fantastic job, but our clients are kind of spreading that, or as they move from, one client to another, they're typically pulling us with them. We're retaining the existing client, but we're typically picking up the new client that they choose as their employer.
Right. Now, did your business take a hit when you culled your client list from 450 down to 300?
Absolutely. Yeah, it did. I mean, it was a scary practice, right? It was really, really a hard call, because I think as we went through there, we employed a business coach to help us through that transition. And we had never up until that time really segmented our clients by A, B, and C clients. We live here in Utah, and so we're big ski. So we call them, snowbird, solitude, riding clients. And as we really separated those, it really became obvious that we just saw certain themes that really just jumped out to us. So yeah, we took, about 18% top line hit, but surprisingly, we took very little bottom line hit. So it was interesting to see, how much of those clients were kind of just spinning our wheels. We weren't very profitable in them.
Yeah, and then by having those clients no longer with you, the ones that were requiring a lot of time and not necessarily generating a lot of revenue and profits for you, you're able to provide even better service to those who remained.
Yeah, well, and our bandwidth increased, right? I mean, that was one of the most exciting things from a net standpoint. Is you fast forward 2 years, good or bad, we had tremendous growth. We added very little staff, so our net profitability actually increased dramatically, even though our revenue went down.
Right. Yeah, it's a nice situation to be in, right? To have more bandwidth
after the fact. Just scary going into it, but it was a good call. 18 months later.
Yeah, definitely. So you grew your business quite rapidly, 2.8 million in 2014 to 7.2 million 4 years later. Number one driver, from what you share with me, is your focus on a particular type of client, right? The ones who see you as a partner, who see the service that you provide to them more than just ticking off the box, but really more as a way of improving their own business. What were the other drivers of your growth?
The other one, and this is still a work in progress. I mean, this is something we're still working on every day, but it's really refining our process. It was the different, we're in a service industry. We're very much people, relationships still matter a lot in our business. It's much more relationship than it is transactional, but we spend a lot of time, and still do, on just refining our process. And, oftentimes we get it wrong, and we have to try 2 or 3 times to twist this or fine tune it. But I'd say that was, one of the other big differences is really looking at productivity and saying, let's leverage technology, let's leverage processes, let's take a workflow system so that we have some management and oversight. So it's not just that we're doing things more productive, but we have more oversight. So hopefully making less mistakes, with, and I don't want to say a smaller staff, but really trying to use that technology instead of people, get the best people and the things that are the least productive for them to do, and try to outsource that or try and push that through technology solutions.
Okay. Can you give an example of how you were able to refine a particular process that had a big impact? Yeah.
So one of our renewal process, I mean, customer service is paramount, but rates matter a lot. You look at most employers, medical insurance is typically, for a white collar client, typically their second largest expense next to payroll is their benefit package. And so, one of the things that we really streamlined was our quoting automation software, instead of just looking out and quoting. So as an example, this is a third party vendor, but we spent a lot of time, and frankly, we're changing vendors just now. And so, instead of looking at that software, say, every couple of years, we really made a cultural goal to reanalyze every 6 months. That doesn't mean pull the trigger, but we want to know what our plan B is. If we were to change software, we want to know exactly who it would be and what it would cost. So at every 6 months, we went through a pretty rigorous RFP on our mission critical pieces of software, like quoting. So for small groups under 50 employees, we would go out to each carrier's respective website, put all the data entry in, it would kick it back out. We put it in a spreadsheet. We contract, and it costs us, it's about $18,000 a year. But we found a piece of software we can enter at once. It pulls out to all 5 carriers that we do. It grabs the data, it quotes it, and then spreadsheets it for us. So now we can have one person that's significantly more productive. We cut down on our errors, and our productivity goes up. And hopefully we've seen the accuracy go up as well. It's been great to have some of those. It's been a little bit harder because it's harder to find those that are multi-state. It's easy to find those in a single, like we're in Utah. So to find somebody that focuses on Utah, it's been great. It's been harder as our clients have kind of grown outside the state, which is one of the reasons, that we've looked at partnering with some larger firms.
Right. Got it. Now, so the second driver would be refining the processes, leveraging technology, workflow. Is there a third driver behind your growth?
People. Yeah. I mean, I think, probably one of the proudest moments for me is as our CEO and as kind of the decision maker or leader here at the company. In 2017, we were voted as, one of the top 25 best companies to work for in Utah. We spend a lot of time, with our employees. We spend a lot of time making sure we have the right clients. We've also spent a lot of time making sure we have the right people. But candidly, it's, this may come out wrong, but we've been pretty quick to fire, right? To say if we're going to fail, let's fail fast. And, let's really interview for culture. Let's make sure that they have the skill set. Let's make sure they have the right talent and kind of the right mindset. But we can train up, we can train our industry, but we kind of can't train culture very well or can't train work ethic. And so, over the last 4 or 5 years, we've spent a lot of time trying to find the right people, making sure they're in the right position, and then really strength finding, kind of finding out, hey, what are they naturally good at, or frankly, what do they enjoy doing? And that will change for different people, and being flexible enough with our employees. We're a small workforce. We have 32 employees here. So for a small company of 32 employees, it gets hard to allow people to kind of move into different positions, especially once they're trained. But we've found that by doing that, it makes people a lot happier on the job. And frankly, they'll step up and usually perform a lot better when they feel like there's some mobility in a job, kind of a career path for them.
Right. So how do you interview for culture and work ethic?
Yeah, so it's really tough. And I say that from a standpoint, people interview really well sometimes and don't perform nearly as well. So one of the things that we've done is a pretty rigorous interview process that we do, typically 4 steps. We always do a phone interview, really to get an idea of who they are, walk through some things and make sure their resume doesn't look perfect, but then we get them in here and find out it's a little different. We have the initial interview we always do a what I would call a third interview or second in-person interview. And when we do that, we pull in one of the people that would be their coworkers, which is a little bit odd for us to do at first, as to pull in, somebody that would be their peer or their coworker to interview them for the job. But we found they ask a lot of questions, and sometimes some deeper questions on a skill set level, but also just on a fundamental level that they either click or they don't click. And so oftentimes, work ethic may be the wrong term, but I think that cultural value of seeing how they react in certain situations, how their demeanor is, and then really letting our team kind of vote on, hey, this would be your team member. And we're very team dependent. For a company, of 32, we've got 6 salespeople. The rest is sales support. And so, we're really interdependent upon each other. So having buy-in of, this isn't just your new coworker, but having buy-in for 2 or 3 people in that department of, yeah, this is somebody we're really excited to sit next to and work with has really helped us.
Yeah. You spend more time with your coworkers than you do with your family, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So you want to make sure you're happy with them. Now, you mentioned Hub very briefly early on in our conversation about the education that you provide to your clients. Can you talk a little bit about your relationship with Hub?
Yeah, so Hub's a company, they're the 6th largest insurance brokerage firm in the world. We've had an ongoing relationship for about the last 6 or 7 years, just talking, I would say very casual conversations. I had always known that we wanted to, likely wanted to sell the firm or merge with another firm a little bit larger that has a little bit larger scope. And some of that is most of our clients, in fact, 80% of our clients, over 100 employees, are multi-state. Several of our clients are overseas. And so, Hub approached me. We, at about October of 2016 and 17. And so we actually sold the firm. I retained some equity in Hub, but sold the firm to Hub International in March of 2018.
And what does Hub bring to the table?
So Hub resources, I mean, frankly, brings resources that we just would have never had at our size. So, now we've got full-time legal counsel. Now we've got an accounting department. As a business owner, an entrepreneur, I love what I do, but I love spending my time with clients. I don't love spending time looking over leases or negotiating a copier lease or office lease or dealing with employee issues. And so being able to, really push that to corporate, still have control and autonomy over who we hire, how much we pay them, those types of items, and how we run the office, but to be able to, push off to somebody else all of kind of the back end office, or at least the corporate, has really been great in terms of time and focus for me personally, and I think most of our leadership team. But in terms of, bringing tools and resources to the table, they've got over 1 million clients, 450 offices in the U.S. So as we have a client, as an example, that does an acquisition in California, I can call 45 different offices, depending on who's closest, and ask if somebody can run out and help do an open enrollment meeting, or call and say, gosh, can I get some help? Who's the local carriers that I should be looking at for this situation? Or do you know a hospital administrator here that we can jump on the phone with? Just having a network and resource, of 13,000 employees nationwide has just brought more resources than I ever could have created, in my career.
Right. Now, how does it work if you needed to contact someone in another state for some assistance? Are they just kind of doing a favor for you as part of the Hub group?
It depends, right? It depends on how. So as an example, my new title now, I've been president and CEO for Spectra, and so have that as we transition over to Hub, or have transitioned over to Hub. I'm the Utah practice leader, so I kind of manage our Utah office and the practice here in the state of Utah. I've got I mentioned California, so my counterpart, Shannon Taylor, who's in California, most of the time it's calling through them, and depending on how big of a project it is, if it's somebody that we want really boots on the ground, typically we'll, call and do some sort of commission split or share on the group. We'll maintain the contacts and have them do it, but most of the time it's a pretty open, it's a very decentralized and very open entity, very company. And so if we just need some knowledge share, it's been amazing how many people are willing to pick up the phone and talk to you and just help you out.
Right.
And vice versa, right? If somebody calls, I get calls, not every day, but certainly several a month or maybe one a week from somebody that's out of state that has a client that's moved to Utah or looking to acquire a company in Utah, and they want to get some due diligence. I'm more than happy to spend some time on the phone because I know I'm going to call them back in a couple of months, in a similar situation.
Yeah, it all kind of cuts both ways. So now that Hub is in the picture here, I know you said that they take care of a lot of the back office issues. You still have the ability to hire people. Do they impose any sort of limitations on how you manage your business beyond the back office type work? Yeah,
they do. I mean, I'd be lying if I didn't say it's changed a little bit. So, most of it's been really open, and I'd say they've been an amazing partner. They've been really good to work with, but there's been some hoops to jump through. I mean, they're a company with, around 13,000 employees. As a company with 32, they have, documentation and some hoops to jump through, like in the hiring process. I think most of those are good, but it just takes more time, where in the past, if we had somebody that we met with, really liked them, we could hire them on the spot and figure the paperwork out later. Now we've got to have them apply for the job, go through, do the background check. It takes just the process. There's more hoops to jump through. It's a little longer. The biggest one's been software. I mean, software and technology was something that, we really have kind of hung our hat on. And although we have access to some of those systems have changed, and it's been not necessarily negative. It's just different.
Yeah, right.
But it's definitely been an adjustment in the office.
Right. Okay. Bob, in terms of running your business, do you still have latitude on how you market your company, for example, or rather market your business unit?
Yeah. I mean, in terms of marketing, clearly Hub still wants some oversight and doesn't want us off the reservation. But I think I can speak for kind of the acquisition philosophy is they liked what we were doing. We explained what we were doing, and they bought us because they wanted us to keep doing it. So that's been. So they've been very supportive and helpful. And how do we change that message to include additional resources, not to change the message and tone?
Right.
So fundamentally, we're still the same company we were. We just have a little bit more ammo in the arsenal.
Right. Now, are you the only Hub unit in Utah, or are there other Hub units in Utah and they operate independently from what you do?
There have been two other Hub offices in Utah. One was, Hub Salt Lake. We're in essence Hub Sandy. That business unit merged into our business unit, so we're all one as of September of last year, so September of 18. And that's been great. I mean, it's actually been really, really good in terms of the types of clients we had and the type of clientele that they had were actually quite different, but a really good combination. And so there's been, and that's one of the reasons we did that is kind of that group think or kind of that mind share thought leadership. It's been great to have their office join us and us be able to kind of coordinate and collaborate back and forth on projects.
Okay, but there's still a separate office from yours, though,
Nope, they actually were all one office, so they merged in. There is one other office that's strictly, it's called Hub Transportation. It's strictly a truck. They do trucking, property casualty, nothing in the employee benefits, and they're still a separate business unit. Completely. We've met them, have done some referrals back and forth, but completely different business unit.
Yeah.
But the employee benefit shops, we're really operating as a single entity now.
Right. Okay. Got it. Makes sense. So for 2019, what's your revenue target? And you're starting from a base of 7.2 million in 2018. What number are you shooting for in 2019?
8.5.
All right.
8.5 million.
And what's the plan to get there?
Grow. So a lot of that has been, this year our approach has changed a little bit. And when I say approach, meaning just the type of clients that we've gone after. We have several clients that have been acquired over the last few years that we've been able to maintain the local presence. This last year, and that was, one of the reasons the appeal of Hub, on an international and a large national scope, a lot more resources than we've had in the past. We've actually reached out to several of those parent companies to try and get the opportunity to look at their benefits. And that's been, it's been mixed. I mean, oftentimes when, a parent company acquires a smaller company, they'll gobble them up into the mothership, so to say.
Yep.
Just like our company did, our benefits, payroll, things of that nature all rolled up to Hub. But we've been, fairly successful. In fact, two of the three that we've approached, we've been able to pick up the entire benefit package across the U.S. now because we have a different story to tell, a better and a bigger story to tell. And so, from a growth strategy, it's really one where we've wanted a bigger footprint and a bigger relationship with our existing clients. As an example, international benefits. We have several clients that do international, have employees internationally. That was a skill set that we just didn't have in the office before. And so, typically we'd handle the U.S. and domestic benefits, but didn't handle their overseas, where that's something fairly aggressively that we're going after. Because I think our mindset is, although we want to grow and we want more clients, I'd much rather spend more time with our existing clients than just gathering more clients.
Right. So the focus for growing your business from 7.2 to 8.5 will be providing additional services to existing clients as opposed to finding new ones.
Yep. And then really for 2019, it would be, growing a footprint in the property casualty, starting out in the property casualty, workers' comp, additional lines of business that we don't offer now, and or an acquisition, local acquisition, and then really backfilling that and cross-selling employee benefits to those clients, and vice versa, starting to offer property casualty insurance to our existing clients. So at least for the next 2 to 3 years, it really will be a focus of, clearly we're going to grow in terms of number of clients, but we'd like to see that growth about 50-50 in new client growth versus organic, growth within our book.
Right. But for this year, it sounds like it's coming more from organic growth as opposed to new clients. Did I get that right?
It really will. Yeah, it really will. And some of that is just rebuilding some of the processes, like we talked about, some of the software changes and things of that nature that just comes inherently with an acquisition.
Yep.
We need to spend a little bit more time refining those processes, learning exactly what our capabilities are. And we've done that, over the last year. We just hit our 1 year mark. Now that we understand exactly kind of what that is and how to tap into those, now we're ready to go out to our clients. Last year the message was, hey, nothing's changed. We have more capabilities. This year we're actually going out and explaining what those capabilities are.
Mm-hmm. So what do you to grow your business from 7.2 to 8.5 in a year? What's the biggest obstacle that your team has to overcome? It's
just the time. I think, in our industry, and I don't know that this is unique, but I think, ACA, or the Affordable Care Act, there's been so many laws and changes. So as an example, just here, this last week, President Trump had talked about association health plans, and a lot of companies and associations have really rushed to do that, and then they struck it down and said, hey, Department of Justice or Department of Labor really wants to pull that back and not allow that, and strike that as unconstitutional. So one of the biggest obstacles that stands in our way is frankly legislation. As the legislators make changes, we've got to now stop, go back to our clients, make sure, and our number one commitment is to our existing clients. I want to grow, and I'm a growth-oriented company. That's the way I think. But if we've got to make a choice of a new client versus servicing our existing, we'll choose to service our existing every time. And so as the legislation landscape seesaws back and forth, that honestly would be one of our biggest obstacles is, having to spend more time stopping, digesting the laws and explaining to your clients what that means versus business as usual, because business as usual for us is pretty good.
Yep.
Right. So if the legislative landscape changes a lot, that will probably prevent us from hitting our sales goals. If we can keep things status quo, it will actually be great because we can spend more time, out with new clients.
Yeah. That's an obstacle though it seems mostly out of your control, right? Unless Hub has a powerful lobbying arm.
It really is. I mean, it's been good from a standpoint that 2 years ago, 5 years ago, I had to meet with, I paid an attorney by the hour. I met with our compliance department, and we had to kind of decipher, hey, what does this mean? One of the great things with Hub, I think they've got some really, really smart people. That when these happen, they're coming out with a brief. We're doing conference calls. We know the verbiage or the language, to speak really quickly, but it's still a lot of time, right? If we've got 350 clients and we've got and we feel like not all of them we need to message with, but likely there's going to be 50 to 100 of them that are going to be calling or wanting to spend an hour on the phone or wanting to do a meeting to figure out, what does this mean for me and how does this change our plans? It takes some time, and we've been facing that since since the passage of ACA back in 2010. So it's been almost 9 years now. That we've really spent a lot of time on that.
Right. How about the obstacles that are more so in your control that your team can tackle and accomplish over the next year? Any big rocks to climb over?
Yeah. So I mean, candidly, one of the biggest obstacles, as much as we talked about culture, we've had some big cultural changes because we had a difference in ownership, right? A difference in names, recognition, and so employee turnover. And I say that from a standpoint I shouldn't say employee turnover as much as finding the right talent. We've got four positions open right now. 3 of them are new positions. One's replacing a former employee, but 3 of them are brand new positions. In the state of Utah, we're at 3% unemployment right now.
Mm-hmm.
So you take a market where it's 3% unemployment, rising wages, changing expectation in the workforce, and it's really difficult to find. I shouldn't say it's difficult. It's really challenging, right, to find the right people and bring them in and get them up to speed quickly.
Yep. Now, do you have latitude on how to go about finding the people, or do you need to do it the Hub International way?
Both. I mean, Hub certainly has, their preferred method to use, but they give us the latitude to use that. It hits our P&L, so it costs, I have to manage to a P&L. So you'd asked earlier, how flexible is Hub in letting us manage the way we want to. I think they've been amazing, but they're also amazing within certain borders. Just like any businesses out there, we've got some mandates that we need to hit and stay within some guidelines.
Right. So the way Hub works is if you use the services, they kind of give you some a charge of some sort to your P&L, right? Some fixed charge. But if you opt not to, you can spend your own resources to do other things to some degree.
Yeah. So if we want to hire recruiters, which we've done here. So you hire a recruiter, you use some alternative methods, it costs you more. And so those are, as a small company, we have certain resources that, a finite amount of resources that we need to figure out, what's the best use of them. So that would certainly be an obstacle this year. The other thing is the market changing, right? I mean, I think mortgage is probably a really good industry for that. We've got a handful of mortgage companies, although they're booming within the last week, it's an industry that's really slowed down. So 2009, 2010, we had an office down in St. George, Utah, which is, south of here about 4 hours. It's very, very hospitality and construction. And in 2009, 2010, some of our clients down there, literally shut the doors and went out of business. We had other clients that laid off, 30, 40, 50% of their workforce in that specific industry. And, and so we've got a lot of high-tech clients. I mean, we've got a pretty diverse clientele in terms of, their SIC or what they do for an industry, but we've got a lot in the high tech industry, which is largely VC or private equity funded. So if interest rates rise dramatically, if private equity, or access to capital dried up, that could really have, that could have some profound effects on our organic growth, or frankly, our growth this year.
Right. Again, that's something that's difficult to forecast and pretty much out of your control, though, right? You kind of have to do damage control more than anything else if it happens.
Yeah, and our economy is great here. I mean, Utah, we're in Salt Lake City, Utah, is where the majority of our clients and businesses are, and the economy is extremely strong and pretty diverse here. So I feel pretty comfortable about that for the next 18 to 24 months at least.
Right. Now, earlier you talked about doing more business with your current clients, right? Especially since you now have more services available to offer them. How are you going to do that? What's the plan on getting that done?
Yeah, so as an example, we had somebody here today. She manages our worksite, our voluntary benefits. So, accident, critical illness, financial, just financial protection. And so more and more employers, as an example, are going to high deductible health plans and HSAs. I'm a big fan, big believer in that as a solution, to help at least the consumer be part of that process. But as they do that, oftentimes there's a single plan or kind of one or two plan designs for a company that might have 80 employees, and so you have people making, $12 an hour, you have people making $120,000 a year, and everybody in between. And so really looking at spending a lot of time on, we have a very robust 401k retirement plan department, so cross-selling that and cross-selling, not in just monetizing that, but also providing some financial education, right? So helping the employees understand, why do we want to get in this early rather than at 40 or 50 getting excited to say, gosh, I need to get on it, starting when they're in their 20s and 30s. But a lot of that, like the worksite products as an example, the Aflac style financial protections, it may not be as needed or necessary for somebody making maybe $100,000 a year, but somebody that's living paycheck to paycheck that has a $2,000, $3,000 deductible. Oftentimes there's a lot of wisdom in those people saying, I'd rather pay $20 a month and know that I've got insurance, that's going to fill in that gap versus having to come up with $2,000 or $3,000 all at one time.
Yep.
And so, it's not for us. It's not selling it. Frankly, the employees want it. The employees want it. The employees are asking for it.
Yep.
It's just figuring out an administrative way that it doesn't put a burden on our clients. To be able to offer it on a voluntary. So most of these are voluntary products. They don't cost our clients anything, but it's really doing an assessment. And so you asking how do we do that? Really, we do that by benchmarking. We do that by sharing client data and then going out off from renewal and just kind of showing them some financial analysis. Here's your employees. Here's their average income. Here's kind of the things that they're probably staying up late about. Here's some solutions for that. Are you interested in us helping you through these? And some clients are very interested. Some clients say, hey, this is a great talking point for next year. But that's how we're accomplishing that, is really going out and doing individual analysis of our existing clients' book.
Right. Sounds like a slow process.
It is. I mean, it's some of that we can automate. We've got a business analyst here that helps kind of create that and put that information together. But it's very customized. It takes a lot of time, but I think it's worthwhile. Not just in monetizing, being able to have some organic growth, but I think we're legitimately finding solutions for people.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Especially since the products can be very complex depending on which options you choose. So, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. 3 last questions for you. If you were to have a billboard for the Utah business unit of Hub International, what would your billboard message say? And most people only have 6 seconds to read a billboard before they drive by, so it has to be somewhat to the point.
Yeah. So as far as a billboard for us or for Hub,
or for you, for your business unit in Utah.
Yeah, it would be. I mean, this may not be the sexiest tagline, but it's having a multi-year strategy, right? I mean, I think oftentimes we ask our clients, we sit down with a new prospect, we ask our clients, I would say, as a firm, our firm and our clients typically are very deliberate in the decisions they make.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't tell you how many times we sit down with a company that spends, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a year on benefits, and you ask them, well, why do you have this type of plan? Like what determination did you decide to go with this company versus this, or this type of plan design? And most of the time, a CFO or an HR person can't tell you. And they say, well, this is what we've I've been here 2 years. We did this before I came. We've always just done the same thing. And so, I'd say that if we were to message to our prospective clients or existing clients or the business community at whole in terms of benefits, it's slow down, take some time, and be deliberate about the benefit plan that you offer, and have a multi-year strategy, because it's really hard for employees to make all the changes all at once. And that's what we see is oftentimes HR people, especially in this, in unemployment at 3%, people don't want to rock the boat. If it's not broke, they don't want to rock the boat. And we would argue, or at least kind of say, we really ought to look at that and say, well, why are we doing that? And if there's a better way, or we're going to get a higher value, higher ROI for this, let's look at making incremental changes over the next 2 to 3 years.
Right. An additional question that came to mind before I ask you the other two, maybe two more questions. Now, at Spectra Benefits, before you had done your acquisition, I took a quick look at your pay-per-click presence and your SEO presence, and really didn't see much of either. Do you find those marketing channels to be not that useful in your business, the way you've structured it?
Not for us. And I say that this is what we found, and we've played around with that in the past. And what we find is most employers of choice, and part of that is who we're trying to go after as far as clientele. We're looking for established businesses that already have an existing benefit plan. We're looking for established benefits that have a strong culture, that are growth oriented, that are typically on the radar. They're getting called 5 or 6 times a month. They're usually not having to reach out, to people like us. And so what we found when we did a lot of that is we got a lot of calls and could pick up some business, but it was typically the business we didn't want. That was typically the 150 type of clients that we were looking and saying this may not be as profitable. And I say that from a standpoint most of the time, and that's why we kind of doubled down on our existing clients. We found it made a lot more sense for us to, where we do spend money in advertising is like our education series, those hub universities, and offering some thought leadership and bringing clients in to say, here's our philosophy, here's how we think, come get a chance to meet us, and not giving them sales pitches, not offering a quote, but just letting them know here's the services we provide and how we approach benefits. And that has done more for us, of having those type of events, having about 70% clients, 30% prospects, and giving them a chance to kind of test drive our services. But we're not a high volume, we're kind of a low volume, high quality shop versus kind of a high volume, if that makes sense. So for us, bringing on 25 to 30 new clients a year is about capacity for us.
Right. How do you find those 25 or 30 to invite to the educational workshops?
Very carefully. Yeah. So depending on what the topic is, we'll almost always, target about 70% attendance of our existing clients. We really ask for referrals. That's something that we do a lot, is ask our existing clients for referrals. If there's, either competitors or vendors that they work with that are similar in size, and explain who we're looking for. And oftentimes our clients will bring a referral, or they'll bring somebody who says, hey, my friend's an HR director for such and such company. They actually just reached out and asked who we were with. This would be great. Let me, invite her. Part of that is we offer CE credit, so continuing education. So a lot of your CFOs that have maybe their CPA, they're SHRM, they have a PHR, professional and human resource, or senior professional and human resource. We offer continuing education credits, and that's really changed the dynamic to where a lot of the bigger, mid-sized to larger companies that are credentialed in HR, these are HR professionals, these are employee benefit specialists at their firms. They're needing that continuing education, and so as we're reaching out to them, this is something they're excited to go do because they're required, to have so much education per year.
Right. Got it. 2 last questions for you. Who are your ideal clients, and what's the best way for them to contact you and your team?
Yep. So ideal client for us is those clients that have, between 30, we're going to call them mid-market, kind of that 35 to 1,000 employee group. We have clients that are larger than that. We have clients that are smaller than that. But really, it's a client that's in that mix that has big company benefits, but they don't have big company resources. So, where we do really well, or where we feel like we're a really good fit, is a company that's a high growth, high culture. They care about benefits, but they don't want to be taken advantage of. They want to benchmark and make sure they're at or above their benchmark. But high growth, strong culture, low turnover, or at least the desire for those 3 things. or somebody that, regardless of what industry it is, U.S. based companies, typically somebody that's based, doesn't have to be, but somebody that's based in the, Intermountain West is one of our best for at least my office, right? For Hub, it would be anywhere. And then the best way to get a hold of us really is either giving us a call or shooting us an email, right? And so looking at our website, which is spectrabenefits.com or hubinternational.com. My personal email is brent.bennett@hubinternational. So either, or our phone number is 801-727-6000. So either call us, email us, or hop on our website and check us out.
Right. Now your website's going to be changing shortly, right?
It will be, but it'll just be pointing. So Spectra Benefits will still be live. It'll just point to the Hub International Sandy location.
Okay, great. Would you like to spell out your username for your email address?
Yep. So my email address, it's Brent Bennett at Brent.Bennett, BRENT.BENNETT at Hub International, HUB International.com.
All right. Fantastic. Fantastic. It's been great having you on my show today, Brent, and hearing how you grew your company so fast.
Great. Thanks, Malcolm. Appreciate it.
We've been speaking with Brent Bennett, the president and CEO of Spectra Benefits, about his company's rapid growth. For interviews with other fast-growing, high-value sales companies, or to learn how we can accelerate your firm's high-value sales through automation, visit eversprint.com.